Howdy partners, and welcome to this here edition of Hikelopedia. Now some of yous may be wondering, what in tarnation is he doing dressed like that? Well, I'll tell you, it's because today I'm coming to you from oil country, Taiwan oil country. You see, because where I'm standing, or should I say sitting, is the spot where oil was first discovered in Taiwan. Yes, that's right, oil, black gold, crude oil, whatever you want to call it. In case you weren't aware, and even I didn't know about this up until recently, Taiwan was once home to what some have termed the world's second oldest oil field. It all began way back in the early 19th century when a Hakka immigrant surnamed Wu discovered an unusual liquid floating on the surface of Holong Creek here. That was in 1817, although it wasn't until several decades later that the first efforts were made to extract what the locals referred to at the time as sulfur or earth oil. John Dodd, the British businessman of oolong tea fame, you can watch my video about him here, was the first to try and exploit the reserves on a commercial scale when in 1861 he signed an exploration deal with a local man surnamed Cho, who himself had dug a shallow well. At the time there was only one other oil field in the world, over in Pennsylvania, and it was to the US that the Qing authorities eventually turned to in 1877, when they invited two American oilmen and their modern drilling rigs over to Miaoli in an attempt to kickstart Taiwan's oil industry. However, technical problems, frustrations between the foreigners and the locals, and the high cost of extraction meant that these efforts also fell by the wayside. The Japanese were next to start drilling, developing the site while sinking around 250 wells during their 50-year colonial rule of the island, with production peaking in 1922 at 150 million litres. When the nationalists assumed control of Taiwan shortly after the end of the Second World War, they continued where the Japanese had left off, although there was never any subsequent huge discovery, and Chuhuangkeng's resources were declared exhausted in 1964. Still, exploration work continued, and despite occasional announcements of new discoveries, a US or Saudi Arabia style oil boom never occurred in Taiwan, although even to this day wells recently discovered in this area continue to produce considerable quantities of natural gas. That production, however, takes place off-site, and now this area has been converted into an oil industry cultural park with a few renovated Japanese-era dorm rooms and such like, and a few other things that you can take a look at. And I must say, the museum is a really interesting place to spend an hour or so, plus the English is really good in there, which is a rarity in Taiwan. And even if you're not interested in the oil industry and the history of it, it's still a nice place to come and hang out for a couple of hours. Plus, although I'm not hiking today, there are quite a few hiking trails in the hills around here, and I guess I'm going to have to come back at some time and check them out. And there's even a little gift shop where you can buy ice lollies and a few other things. I must say, I've never had a Shaoxing wine rice cake ice lolly before. Actually, it's not bad. And only $20. Alright guys, I really enjoyed my couple of hours at Chuhuangkeng in Miaoli, the site of Taiwan's oil and gas industry. The only thing it was missing, in fact, was food. Quite peckish now, it's almost lunchtime, so I think I'm going to go and remedy that right now. I drove around the nearby town of Gongguan looking for a place to eat. Years ago, this place was a lot busier, but the construction of expressways means quite a few once bustling towns like Gongguan are now pretty quiet, so it was really hard to find a restaurant. I did eventually find one and got some pork head meat noodles, some veg and a plate of tofu, seaweed and egg. It was pretty standard Taiwanese fare, nice and cheap, and it filled me up. So if you're ever passing through Gongguan and feeling hungry, then it's a decent option. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you want to support the channel, click thanks down below or head on over to my Buy Me a Coffee page like these people and have a look what's on offer. And don't forget, 3 coffees or more for a Hikelopedia embroidered patch. Alright guys, take it easy and oil. See you next time. Over and out. Yeehaw!